Welcome back, everybody, to the CHG podcast.
My wife's making cookies.
I was going to ask, what is that noise I hear shuffling in the background?
If you hear any noise, that's my wife making M&M cookies. So deal with it.
Ooh, extra M&Ms, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys can deal with it because I get cookies after this.
Are you going to have chocolate chips too?
No, it's just M&M. Just M&M.
You got to have both, bro.
Nah, just M&M.
Hey, well, whatever. This is the CHG podcast, the gaming podcast where we talk about gaming news going out in the world and try to be funny about it, smart about it, dumb about it. As long as you were either entertained or learned something, we did our job. So yeah, this is going to be the one that we wanted to do last week, but we didn't get enough time because we started talking about Rock Band 5 that doesn't exist for way too long. But anyways, yeah. So let's get into it. What we're playing. So I told you. So last week I said I was playing a bunch of shit that I'm not really happy with, but I finished that truck racing game that I still cannot believe fucking exists. It was one of the most mundane, boring games I have ever played, and I have played some very mundane, boring racing games in my time. But I finished it, got the platinum. I can at least say the platinum trophy design, like little image, was kind of cool. It was kind of neat. It wasn't like because a lot of especially indie titles, a lot of their trophies are really generic.
Mm-hmm.
Really, sometimes it literally is just a picture of a trophy, just some fucking like I'm talking like they just grabbed the JPEG off of Google and just slapped it on there. But this one actually was like they actually designed it, so I was like, okay, I mean, it's nice, it's nice. So that's done. No more of that. And then I started up again that Shred 2 mobile biking game that's kind of like Trials. It's like in the same. If you saw it, you were like, oh, this is like Trials.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, only reason why I don't play Trials is because that game is fucking brutal. The game is so brutal. That'd be a fun game for you and I to play one day, just to fuck around with. Is that on the Game Pass?
It used to be. It's not now. I don't think.
Okay. Well, if it ever comes back, we should definitely give that game a shot. But yeah, so I mean, I'm going through it. So the game's broken up into 4 different main. They say campaign, which is like, how dare you use that word? But it's more like 4 sections of challenges. Each level has 5 challenges to do within there, and they're all listed for you to do. And there's 10 or 11 levels in each section, and they're broken up in by regions. So the first ones are just training, and then you go, and then there's like a whole set based in like UK, and then like the US, and there's another one I don't remember. And I'm on the US one, which is the last set in the main campaign. And so I'm just going through because you have to get all the challenges done for the trophies and also to unlock better bikes and stuff. So I'm making my way through it. It is frustrating because like not everything is clearly laid out to you, and also like it sometimes gives you a bike that's not it's on purpose, but like it's a bike's not necessarily suited for the terrain you're on, and it just makes it. I can see that they thought it'd be a challenging, but honestly, it's just fucking frustrating, but not in a good way. Because like you're doing everything right, you're doing all the mechanics right, and then you still miss a jump, and you're just like, I don't know what else to. What do you want me to do? Like glitch the game? Like what do you want from me? But yeah, I'm getting through. But after you do those 4, there's 2 extra ones to do. But they're smaller. There's only like 5 or 4 levels in them. And so that'll be the last things I need to do. But yeah, so making through that. Still playing the Tony Hawk game, being sad still by it because I know I'll never like I mean I might go back because there's a video online of a dude who got the 6th level on every challenge in the game, and I don't know how. So I might, when I beat the game, I just normally beat it, I'll probably go reference that video and just see like take my hand at everything I did not get a pro or a 6 challenge on, and just get what I can, and then move on.
Does it still let you go on after the time limit when you're doing like an manual or grind?
So here's the thing. This game, so I don't know if you remember, but so after Tony Hawk 4 and they got the Tony Hawk Underground, they stopped kind of like that 2-minute time limit stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it was more like open world design, and then you meet people and they give you challenges to do. Sometimes they were, and then some of those challenges were timed, and I guess, but like they weren't combo related most of the time. So like you didn't really have to worry about grinding or manualing after the timer was out, and they kept that formula going forward with the series. So Thug 2 had it, and American Wasteland had that same thing, and then Project 8, what I'm on now, has the same thing too. It's like an open world skateboarding game. So imagine Skate, but with the Tony Hawk design and feel to it. There are some challenges in their little world that actually are classic. So they actually do give you 10 challenges to do in 2 minutes. And in those, yes, if you are still manualing or grinding, it does, you can keep the combo going until you land or fall. And then it's over. But it's just, again, those 6 challenges are sometimes just bonkers because, for instance, for the classic ones, to get the sick level, you need to do all 10 of the challenges within the 2-minute time frame. Within 2 minutes. And like, so there's like, the three score levels, like high score, pro score, 6 score, a high combo score, and then collect skate, collect combo, and then like some other little, and like find the secret disc, find the secret tape, and then a couple little destruction things or whatever, right? And it's like the thing that's a challenge though is like that like getting that 6 score, because it's high. It's not like some weak little 200,000 score. It's like 600,000, 700,000, a million points, and like it's just a tiny little box. And I'm like, how do I get that and then do everything else? So it's like, again, I'm gonna reference that video, see what the fuck he did, because I don't know how I'm supposed to do this shit. So yeah, I'm playing that. So those kind of what I'm going with right now. I beat Cuphead, expert mode.
Yeah,
I beat it.
I saw that.
I fucking beat it. I cannot believe that I beat it. And so, and I beat King Dice on my first. No, sorry, I should say first try. What I should say is when I got to King Dice. So I died a few times from his cronies, but when I got to King Dice, my first time getting to King Dice, I beat him. And I had one health. I had 1 health left too.
Yeah, heart at the left. Nice.
The whole time from the beginning of that fight, I had 1 heart. I think maybe 2, but like, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, am I gonna be able to fucking do it? Am I gonna do it? And I actually got it. I could not believe it. The devil he took like an hour. Yeah. So then I was like, well, since I've beaten that, I guess I'll play it on my main account finally and get the platinum. If I can do that, then I can pretty much do it, because that's like the hardest thing to do. And so on my main account, I have beaten the game on regular mode. And I got all the bosses with an A- rank or better. And then on the running gun levels, I got all the gold coins. So I have all the coins in the game. So I got those trophies. And now I'm going to do the pacifist runs first. And then I'll go play the game on expert with all the bosses on expert. Yeah, so I want to leave the expert mode for last, and I'll do the pacifist afterwards. And the funny thing about that, so there's a boss. I don't know if you remember this boss, but remember the one with the bird inside the little birdhouse, and then like he had like the little sun afterwards.
Yeah,
you had trouble with that.
One.
No, he's not the first one. He's like the second or third,
okay,
depending on what route you go. He's like the second or third. And I remember a lot of people had a lot of problem with him, especially like that phase where he like flies out all the feathers.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we played it. I remember you particularly kept like you were like, oh, I don't know how, and I was maneuvering just because like I don't know what it is. Like my brain can just like focus on my little guy, and then like I don't know what it is. I can just focus on the my peripheral. I don't know how I can do it, but it just works for me. I don't know why. But when I was reading forums on like what's the hardest expert boss, everyone kept saying that boss. Like they're like that boss deserves a special place in hell for that boss. And I'm just like, he wasn't that hard. I'm like, am I the only one who thinks he wasn't that hard? Like, I mean, there were other bosses that were brutal for me. There were a few others, but like that one, I didn't understand it. Like people say like that's the hardest boss in the game on expert mode. And I'm like, what? I don't know. It's just one of those weird instances where something that apparently is hard for the rest of the community is like okay for me. And it's just funny when you come across those certain things. I don't know if you ever had that happen to you before, like something was hard for everyone else, but you were like, it's fine for me. Yeah, it's really weird when that happens to me. I feel like a boss when that happens, but yeah, very strange. But yeah, that's about it for me. Are you still playing that MLB? Are you giving that a break, or what are you
I
doing?
mean, I'm back in school again, so
Boo!
I've been playing less. But
Boo!
yeah, when I'm on, I'm playing MLB just because it's
Quick, easy.
quick and simple, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to give it much. I've been playing Neon Abyss, which is a
Oh yeah.
procedural generated dungeon crawler.
I never knew you liked those so much.
Yeah, I mean they're enjoyable. There was a Legacy. I think we talked about it before. The Legacy Quest or Legacy something. Anyway, there's one that came out that's like $25 that I want to play, but I just don't have money. But yeah, no, I haven't. Yeah, I mean MLB when I get on for a little bit, but I've been trying. So it's summer quarter, so I have 1 month and to do all of a semester's worth of work, and my goal is to get all of it done within like 2 weeks.
Wait, you only get 1 month?
Yep,
Not even
1
two?
month. Nope, it's
What?
split up into two.
Oh yeah, it's A and
2
B.
parts. Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm
but
doing.
aren't
I'm
there options
doing.
to have just one long summer like class? Because
Maybe
like
I don't know, but that's not what I'm doing. So
because
I'm
for
doing.
okay
I'm doing Spanish. Spanish the first half,
again
and
with
then
Spanish, bro. You've been doing Spanish forever. How much
gotta get
Spanish do you have to do?
2 years. 2 years worth of it.
It hasn't been 2 years yet.
Four semesters, man.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so yeah, this is my last Spanish, so I gotta get this done, and then I have history. I have history, world history after 1500 to do in the second half. So that'll be in person, so it'll be less. I don't know. I enjoy in person a lot more than I enjoy online. But with Spanish, I don't really care because I just want to get through it. I'm cheating anyway, so it
You
doesn't
hear
really
that?
matter.
Hear that, professors who are definitely going to see this video? You hear that? He's admitted it. He's a cheater. He's cheating.
Yeah, there's some easy ways in the particular site they use.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull up the review portion because you get to do it once through, and then it'll show you what you got wrong, and you can reopen it to do it another time to fix your mistakes or whatever. But what you can do is change, like let's say I said A the first time and it was something else, because they don't tell you the answer, they just say that you got it wrong. So I go to reopen it up to try again, and this time I do B. What I can do is I can click on the review tab, and it'll pull it up and it'll change my answer. So if my answer is right, it'll mark it to right. If it's still wrong, it's still wrong, and I go back and I do C and then D until I have it right. So you can do that for anything that has like multiple choice or anything like that. You can do it for fill in the blank too. The only thing with fill in the blank is if you have no idea, then you're screwed in that regard. But so yeah, I'm trying to just fly through that. I am trying to learn something. So like when we get new vocab, I'll write it down in my notebook, and the first time through, I'm actually trying to do it. I'm not just marking random shit. I'm trying to do it. But yeah, and then so next mini semester in summer will be world history, which I'll be fine. And then I got my big hitters starting in the fall. I have an honors class I'm taking, even though I'm not in the honors college, but I was allowed in, so that'll be really fun. And yeah, and then I have my huge seminar class that I have to write like a big research paper. I think that's not fall, but I think it's spring semester next year. No,
Does your school that you
next
sub
year.
at does it teach is there Spanish? Do they teach Spanish in that school that you sub at mainly or whatever?
Oh yeah. There's in the middle school. Yes, they have a Spanish class.
Do you guys do you ever hear them talking about Spanish? Like your students talk about Spanish and how much it sucks or whatever? Because it'd be funny if they did, and you'd be
Kids
like,
never
guys,
talk about
I'm gonna tell you right now, Spanish don't get no easier. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't. I wouldn't even say Spanish is that hard. Like if I was younger, maybe with a couple less concussions, the way they're doing it, like I've actually learned stuff. Like I know stuff. So if I was a little bit younger with a little less concussions, I don't think I'd have that big of an issue.
I don't
But
know,
at this
man.
point, I just want to get through it, get to me teaching and coaching. But yeah.
I mean,
So anyway, long story
that was the
short,
exact
I
same
am
thing.
mostly just on trying to get Spanish done.
And he's on MLB, the show.
A little bit.
Whenever he can. Okay, cool. Anyway, so I don't know what you heard or saw, but the PlayStation State of Play was yesterday.
Yep. I watched a Game Ranks video on it.
Okay, so today's little fun question will be, what was the announcement or thing that you read that you're like most hyped or excited for? If not for yourself, then for other people or just in general.
I would say I am interested in the PSVR 2. It looks a lot more.
It as itself, like just as a
yeah.
as a thing.
It looks a lot more, at least for what they're putting on it, and and the stuff that they've shown on it. It looks a lot more in line with like the Oculus and stuff like that as far as capabilities. Saints and Sinners 2 is going to be on it, which is the Walking Dead game. Saints and Sinners 2, whatever they're going to call it, is going to be on it. So, and that's pretty taxing as far as what VR can do. So I'm interested in VR. I want to see how it progresses. I don't know if it'll ever be for me. It probably won't ever be. Like I've used it a few different times and it's fun. But for me, it's still like a gimmicky party trick, like something I'd only do every now and then, like at a friend's house. There's no way I will probably ever own like a traditional VR. So that was cool. I mean, I always love seeing remakes of games because the more old games get remade and do well, the more there's a chance for my beloved's remake to happen. So, so Resident Evil 4 being remade, hopefully that does well. Hopefully Bethesda's looking and does something.
Honestly, I think the exact same thing about like, for instance, like when EA years ago said that like they didn't think remasters were for them. They're like, no, we like to focus on making new IPs and blah blah blah. And people were just like,
new IPs?
What? Are you kidding me? And they're like, have you not seen how well remasters have been doing? And then and then we got Command and Conquer remastered, or at least ported. Which people were like, okay, that's a start. And now we have Dead Space coming, which that's could be great. And then so I'm just like, SSX.
Dead Space or the spiritual successor to Dead Space? Are they remaking Dead Space?
Dead Space is being remade. They showed it like
I knew they
year.
talked about the spiritual successor to Dead.
And there's this Callisto Protocol game that was shown yesterday that looks like Dead Space. Like I thought it was Dead Space. I thought it was Dead Space. Like I thought it was like another preview of Dead Space or something. I was like, oh, we're gonna get some more footage of Dead Space. And it was like Callisto Protocol. I was like, bro, this is Dead Space. And people review it. People are gonna be like, here's Dead Space if you can't get Dead Space. So yeah, but every time I see that from EA, something about EA, remastering, remaking something, I'm just like, SSX, please be next. So
yeah, I think it would be a good one for it, but I mean, I don't know, we'll see.
So yeah, I mean, getting like a packaged, not even remade. I just upscale it. I'm fine. Like I already bitched about this last week, but like I don't care what you do. Just make it to where I can play it on a new console. Yeah. That's all I care about. But so I feel you, man. I feel you on that. I know all of you guys have like an old game that you wish would get remade or remastered or ported or whatever. Comment below what yours is, because ours. So anyway, so yeah, so yours was so you said just VR in general.
VR in general, yeah. I think like I said, the continuation of the technology is always going to be interesting.
Based on what
looks like there's a big update.
Yeah, based on what the few games that they showed yesterday, it started. We're starting to see VR in general be progressively get closer to being a more serious console, like being a proper console rather than a gimmick, like you said, right? Or like just a party thing. And even if it did get to a full-fledged like serious console thing, it also would never be for me. I've never used it because I've never wanted to use it. It never interested me from the beginning, and it still doesn't. And also mostly because it's like it's so much fucking work. It's like you come home from whatever you're doing or this and that, and it's like you gotta like fucking put the thing on, and you gotta hold the controllers, and you gotta like you gotta sit up right or stand. Like, oh, who has time for standing?
See,
And it's like
this is my thought
none
with
of that.
VR. I don't know how it would work, but I just want like a regular game in VR where I control the head movement with my head, but then everything else is on the controller.
Yeah,
So
I mean, okay,
look,
I might give that a shot. I might give that.
yeah,
If that was
I
the,
don't
and I
know why
think
that's not a thing.
aren't there some PlayStation games where you can? Aren't there some PSVR games where you can do that?
I know Gran Turismo works like that. That's the only one I can think of. Like they'd have to figure a way because you obviously can't turn around. So like a button would have to be dedicated to turning,
Mm-hmm.
360
Yeah,
around, not 360, 180. But yeah, I know Gran Turismo has that where that's the case for that one. But I don't know of anyone else's. So
that'd be
but,
because I might give that. I still probably wouldn't even do it that much because I don't want to put on a head. Because like I'm also kind of like I couldn't sit in that perspective for 8 hours or several hours at a time. I'd just be like,
I
fuck,
want
like,
more. I want more of the stuff that the HoloLens was gonna do, like the augmented reality.
I don't even fucking remember the Holo. I know what it was Google's thing, but honestly, I don't.
No, it was an Xbox thing.
Oh, was Xbox's thing? Well, didn't Google have something similar though?
Yes, Google Glass.
Google Glass. Okay, yes. See, I don't see. It was. I don't even remember what the fuck was going to happen with that.
Yeah.
Anyways, but for me, so I watched the whole thing yesterday. It was. It wasn't bad. I was talking to a buddy, and he was like, "Man, it was an L, bro." I was like, "I mean, it wasn't good, but like, it wasn't garbage."
Yeah, they didn't talk about the new PlayStation Plus pretty much
They
at
did
all.
not, because that would take a half hour in of itself. Okay, like so, I'm not surprised.
No, okay. So here's what you do. Like I know Sony's different, but all you do is like, hey, are you guys excited? Here's 10 games we haven't talked about. That's it. You just run the games, a little clip of the game. That's all. Like you don't need to be like in detail, but give something. This is your big event for the summer. This is the big thing that you did. Like you gotta throw some names out there.
I guess not. But anyways, I'm really excited for RE4 as well. The remake. I mean, it was always rumored. It was talked about forever, and I was finally here. Apparently, there's some kind of connection between RE4 remake and RE8, which is interesting. I just read something. Apparently, someone spotted something that might be a connection between the two, which makes sense. I mean, the RE4 inspiration in 8 is just it's like they didn't even hide it. So it makes sense that if they are somehow, or if they decide to try to connect them, that would make sense. So however, I'm not gonna lie, they said the footage that they showed was from a PS5, but it did. I was expecting a little bit better visually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It wasn't anything. It was in-game footage.
It was.
So this wasn't like any cinematics. So you can't expect cinematic stuff. And a lot of that other stuff that they showed at the thing, which you might be comparing it to, was all cinematic stuff for every other other game they played.
That's not what I'm comparing. I'm comparing this to RE2 remake, RE8. I don't know. This just didn't look as good as I thought. Like when RE2 was first shown years ago, that looked amazing for 2017 or whenever they fucking revealed it. And then RE8 does look fantastic. That's like the biggest prop I would give it, But when I saw this, I don't know, on a PS5, I was expecting something a little more cutting edge personally. But regardless, though, excited. People are going to lose their fucking shit for it, and I'm all for it. If the trophies are easy, I might give it a shot. That's like part of like the only reason why I even played RE2 was because the platinum's not hard to get. So I don't know. You guys might see that from the channel. Who fucking knows? And then I was also, I shouldn't say excited, but the other thing that kind of piqued my interest was that cat game, Stray.
Yeah. We'll have to see what that is.
I don't know why. It's because like the footage they showed, nothing fucking happened. Like the cat was just walking around doing cat shit, and like sitting on bar stools with people, and it doesn't talk. The cat doesn't talk. It's just a cat. It's a literal cat. And so I'm gonna try that game out because it just is so bananas and it just out there that I feel like it warrants at least a try. And it's a day one for PS Plus. Because man, Sony striking with them heavy hitters right out the gate. But hey, why? I mean, whatever, man. Fuck
Forget
it.
the fucking new Elder Scrolls day one on Xbox Game Pass. Fucking cat walking simulator.
Bro, fuck that, bro. Fallout 3 remake, New Vegas remake collection, day one. Fuck that.
Serena might make me sell my Xbox to get a PlayStation 5 for that game. So
to get a PS4 is cheaper. You can still get the PS Plus. So there you go. Dude, if you show her any footage of that, she's gonna probably make you get rid of your Xbox. All right. Actually, here's the thing. I don't think that's an exclusive. I don't think it's an exclusive. I don't think it's exclusive.
It might not be, and if so, whatever. Then
so it might be It might be day one on Game Pass too. And
it's a cat game where you play as a kitty cat.
Literal kitty cat. It's a literal kitty cat,
like an actual kitty cat.
There you go. Time the Xbox gotta go. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm most. I mean, it wasn't too much because like the VR stuff, I don't really care about per se. There was some indie stuff that was like whatever, and some of the other games.
Final Fantasy.
I don't care about Final Fantasy that much, but I'm sure some people are gonna be really pumped. There was that strange anime game that's like apparently it's a dating sim and an action game, which I'm like, interesting. Okay, I think that would be fun to play with David. Honestly, so we can punch and get the waifus. So everyone wins.
Just like our wildest dreams.
Just like we always wanted, right? Anyway, so that's that. Okay, so last week, guys, we hinted at this at the end of last week's podcast, and we're actually going to chance to talk about it. So the initial topic for last week was we wanted to talk about third-party exclusives and like their place in the industry, and whether or not we think it's okay. If it's not, just get our thoughts on it. And I was inspired by this because I was watching a video from another channel, and they were doing like a top 10 things that they wish would go away from the industry. And their first one, their number 10, was third-party exclusives. And they thought it was, they said they were fine with first-party exclusives, but third-party exclusives they had a problem with. And so I was like watching, I was like, and I didn't really agree with that. And I thought it might be a good topic for us to kind of explore a little bit. So I'll ask you, David, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think there's two sides of this, right? There's as a gamer, as someone who wants to play all the games but can't necessarily afford all of the systems. I don't want there to be any exclusives, like first party or otherwise. I wish that freaking Halo would be on PlayStation and God of War would be on the Xbox. Like, as a gamer, that is what I would want if I was building,
That sounds like a communist. That sounds like a communist idea to me. Look at this guy. Burn him. Burn him at the stake.
Power in the hands of the gamers.
Capitalism. Capitalism always wins.
Power in the hands of the gamers. So that's what I want as a gamer, but as a businessman, or not a businessman, but like someone who understands business, like I understand that first party stuff is always going to be first party stuff. Like, you rarely ever see in the world of business any company giving anything that is designed by them to their competitor. Every now and then you'll see something like, I know that like Ford and Chevy have actually worked together on some weird ass stuff, technology wise in the past and stuff like that. So you'll see it every now and then, but it's not very likely. I mean, you see it in the gaming sphere when you have things like, Minecraft-ish, it is an example of a technically first-party game now being on other consoles. Microsoft's willingness to potentially maybe put Game Pass on the Switch and PlayStation.
Wait, they did? I thought it was on the Switch.
No, the game box. It's the game box. The Xbox app is on the Switch, but the Game Pass is not on the Switch. It's been rumored for a really long time, but no, it is not.
What is the point of having it on the Switch? What does that allow? Like, Is there?
I mean,
Does
who
it help
knows?
with anything? I mean, because you have a Switch, so like,
mean,
does it help with anything? Like, what is the
I would
purpose
never
of
use
it?
it. I have my phone. For people who don't have phones, I don't know. You know, um,
Okay.
and I don't even think like you can do remote play from your Switch. I don't think you can do that either. So, I mean, we've seen it in the gaming industry, mainly from Microsoft. But you know, it just doesn't make sense when you have a thing that is yours that can make you money. There's no reason for you to, you know, have it be on another person's console and have it make them money. With third party stuff, it's purely like, I think it's a kind of a risk reward thing, right? So if you don't make it, if the company, producer, whatever doesn't make it exclusive, it is on both. They get no exclusivity deal, so no money on that end. And you make a bet that your game is going to be popular enough on both systems. So you have to think that PlayStation and Xbox have different demographics. They're blending more and more. They're becoming more androgynous more and more. But there still is, you know, somewhat of a difference between who is a PlayStation guy and who's an Xbox guy. So you have to say, okay, does my game work equally on both systems, you know, both demographics? And then, you know, you have to say, okay, does it have enough? Is my game going to have enough fan appeal to sell enough on both systems, or is it going to be a flop or a minor flop on both because, you know, it's spread out? And then you know, factor that against whatever deal Sony or Microsoft or maybe Nintendo is giving you to be exclusive. And if you think that you're not going to sell enough to make up for that deal, then you do what's best for you and the company. That's what, you know, like you said, like you alluded to, that's capitalism. You know, whatever makes you the most money, that's what is generally more important to any company, even gaming companies, which tend to still have this like good guy light most of the time.
Well, I wouldn't say good guy light, but all right.
I mean, more than other industries, you know,
unless you're EA.
Like look at, well, yeah, but like look at how much like good graces that oh frick,
the guys who made Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah,
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red. They could have done anything, and they like the fact that they have lost so much like credibility is a testament to how horribly Cyberpunk went. But you know, they were seen as the good guys, even though there was tons of reports of bad working conditions during The Witcher 3. But everybody, because the fans loved CD Projekt Red so much, it didn't really get talked about at the same way that it was, you know, when, you know, EA had it come out and stuff like that. So there's still a lot of kind of cult following, like, you know, like forgiveness in the gaming industry. So yeah, I don't know what I've kind of lost my track on what I was
that
particular
that particular point is just a product of our hype culture that we have, because I think we probably suffer the most out of it most other industries. I think hype culture is probably the worst for gaming, because you're right, because at first, yeah, those reports were out there about the bad work conditions under that studio, but people were they wanted Cyberpunk 2077 so bad that they just forgot about it, and then no one talked about it. And if the game had been a success, no one would talk about it ever again. We would have all forgot about how bad the working conditions would have been. No matter what kind of editorial piece Kotaku would put out afterwards, it wouldn't matter if the game had been a success. Anyways, no, those are some good points, and of course, it always comes down to, like, you know, your personal opinion versus like your pragmatic opinion. But let me ask you just straight up, like, should it be here or should it not? Do you want it to stay or do you want it to go away?
I would want it to go away.
Okay,
I want to play games.
That's all I need to say. That's all I need to hear. Now, I will be the exact opposite of David and say I want them to stay, and I say that even to my own detriment, because it has come to my own detriment on 2 separate occasions. Um, but it proves your point that you made though earlier, and I'll tie it all in together in a second here. So the first time it happened to me, where I really like felt it, was Rise of the Tomb Raider. It was initially, for those who remember, it was initially a timed exclusive on Xbox for about a year, I want to say. But when they first announced it, no one knew at first that it was a timed exclusive, because when Xbox announced it at one of the, like, it was at E3, um, it just said Xbox exclusive or something like that, and people lost their minds, including me, because I have the biggest hard on for Survivor version Laura. So I was very, very sad. Like, I was getting like anxiety. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, my heart was like, no, don't take this from me. I felt like someone had like, I felt like Xbox became like Mr. Steal Your Girl or something, and like took her away from me. Because like the graphic jump from the original reboot to Rise of the Tomb Raider is stupid. It is stupid, bro. That graphical difference, I'm like, Laura, you never look so good. But yeah, so I mean, eventually though, it worked out in the end because we found out it was a time exclusive and we only had to wait a year. And I was like, okay, bullet dodged. But the second time, bullet was not dodged. Bullet hit me right in the heart, and I'm still feeling it today. And that game is, of course, Bayonetta 3 and Bayonetta 2, for that matter. When
Yep.
Bayonetta 2 was first announced, I I saw the announcement on a PlayStation forum. So it's like you get excited at first because it's on the PlayStation forum. You're like, oh fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. But then the headline says like Bayonetta 2 coming out, but then so like hyphen like but only for the Wii U. I'm like, no, 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 no. So I clicked on it. I read the whole thing. I was like, no, why? And then everyone lost their shit, right? Everybody, because we're like, it was on Xbox and PlayStation at first, and then it was even on the Wii, and then it is like the next time the sequel's
It
out,
was a
the
weird.
sequel, it's like Wii U, and it's like wait,
It is
wait.
probably one of the weirdest. Like, regardless of what it was on before, like it is the weirdest exclusive for like any system, because it's not a typical Nintendo game. It's not it's not for the typical Nintendo audience. It is a very mature,
Well, back then for sure.
sexualized
Back then
game.
for sure. But I think now, you want to talk about audiences being
It
mixing.
has evened out.
I think the
But
Switch's audience is a little bit different than the Wii U's audience. But yeah, it was hella weird. It
yeah,
was
it
so
is
weird.
super weird.
And what made it more confusing was that I think it's made by Platinum Games, and they had
Mhm.
historically had a long history of doing multi-platform stuff. They don't have a long history of doing exclusive stuff, so that's what made it even more confusing. But then as time went on, and people, obviously people were just like wanted some answers for why.
Mhm.
It came to light that Nintendo, oddly enough, they were the only ones
It
that were willing
wanted
to
it.
back
Yeah.
it, that were willing to
Yeah.
actually take it on. Now we have to take all we have is that guy's word, from the studio. So that's all we can work with. But if that is true, it either like they were the only ones, period, or they maybe they gave the most amount of financial support to make the second game.
Uh-huh.
Either way, that proves your point though, that sometimes, it that's the only way it could happen. And that's one of the reasons why I actually I am for third party exclusive, because sometimes it is the only way a game will actually be able to see the light of day. It's not all the time, but sometimes that is why a game will be on an exclusive system when it wasn't before, because game development is really expensive, and sometimes they just don't cut it. Sometimes, like the first game, even if it's critically lauded, it doesn't commercially sell well, and they just need to strike a deal to get that extra support. And if that means that they have to release a game on that one console where it previously wasn't, that's what they'll do to keep it afloat. And so,
And you got to think too that like there was some kind of like even more behind the scenes deal with Platinum, because not only did they get Bayonetta, they also got another exclusive, or this was before
The canceled
um,
exclusive.
no. The platinum game with the guy with all the tattoos. It was a Wii U exclusive.
Oh, wait, was that by them too? Devil's Third?
Devil's Third. Yeah, it was a platinum game.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that was a platinum
So
game.
like, I don't know if those came to this like a package deal, and platinum was like, "Fuck it, sure, why not?"
Which is so funny because Devil's Third was so bad.
So bad, very, very bad.
I mean, that's one of those games where it's like it's hilariously bad though. Where like
Yeah.
you and I would have
Rogue Warrior.
Yeah, Rogue Warrior levels of bad. You would, if we ever played that, we would have the time of our lives. Like, because I've seen the Game Grumps play it, and it's one of their best like short series. Because they only did like 6-7 episodes of it. It is one of their best short series on their whole channel. It is so because like Aaron does like a Russian voice the whole time. He does like his own like a mock Russian voice the whole time, and because he just takes because the guy, I don't know if you've seen footage of it, but the guy, he's like serious but also like nothing phases him at the same time, and it's
he's weird.
They just play that whole up. They just play that shit up the whole time.
And then you got other weird stuff like not weird stuff, I guess, but because it's almost like what since Bayonetta, like what platinum game has come out on all systems?
I would need to check their history.
The shooter, their third person shooter one.
Oh wait, didn't they also? They also did Wonderful 101 on the Wii U.
Wonderful 101 on the Wii U,
which
the Vanquish
was okay.
Remaster.
That was okay, but then Wonderful 101 got ported to the other systems. When it was initially Wii U exclusive, but actually got ported to PS4 and Xbox, I think a year or two ago. Because then people lost their minds because then they were like, yo, Wonderful 101 got ported. What about Bayonetta 2, bro? Like, and then the director was like, guys, it's not up to me. It's up to Nintendo. Like, he got on social media. He got on social media real quick. 101 got released on the other systems. So I don't know, maybe like, one day.
And then Vanquish, the remake of Vanquish didn't get. My wife's just dropping shit all over the place.
She's just breaking the house. The house is gonna fall apart. She's gonna ruin the house.
Pretty much. Oh, well, our AC went out again. We thought we had it fixed, but it went out again.
Oh,
so she's trying to open windows, and she accidentally pulled the curtain rod down.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised you're not naked right now. Shoot.
It's not as hot as it was last week.
Okay,
but it's humid as shit. So
you don't die on me now. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, you're right. There must have been something like a long-term multi-game deal that Platinum signed with Nintendo because
Nier.
But that was
Nier wasn't.
Nier was multi-platform. Vanquish was multi-platform. And
Babylon's Fall was PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Let's not talk about Babylon's Fall. Let's not even talk about that game.
Astral Chain was a Switch exclusive.
That's another Nintendo thing though. So I don't know what deal they signed with Nintendo, but they signed something. But then they also almost they had that canceled.
Scaleborn was a disappointment exclusive.
Wait, what game?
Was it Scaleborn was a disappointment exclusive? It was the one that was canceled with the trap with.
You mean Scalebound?
Scalebound, whatever.
Yeah, for the Xbox.
Scalebound.
Yeah, for the Xbox.
It was supposed to be Xbox exclusive, but then it got fucking canceled because Xbox is an idiot.
Yeah, you guys, your one chance of having a hopefully a good JRPG style game, and you lost it. Lost it. But it's just, it's sometimes some developers just go where the money's at because that's the only way their games can exist. And so, yeah. So that's why I'm for it, because sometimes it's just a necessary evil that has to happen.
I get that.
And sometimes a great relationship can end up being built by it. Two good examples, in my opinion, are and this is an old one for the OG guys, Rareware and Nintendo from the 80s, late 80s and early 90s. Actually, up until the 2000s. Rareware was never actually owned by Nintendo, but they had a very, very close relationship. As I think what they call a second party developer. Like, they only made games for Nintendo, but they weren't owned by Nintendo.
And Insomniac
previously was a good example. Now they're bought by Sony, but up until like 2 years ago, they were also another second party developer for Sony. They were never owned by Sony. They were independent the whole time, but they only made games for PlayStation. And sometimes a good relationship just can just be built from that, you know, when you do things like that. So, you know, it's just sometimes it's just a necessary thing that has to happen, and sometimes some great good can come from it. Yeah, some people won't be able to play it. Like, I will forever be bitter that I can't play Bayonetta 2 and 3. Like, you're taking away my witchy waifu lady who kicks ass and gets naked half the time. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you think I don't want that? I want that. I want that. I want that so bad. But I live with it. You just move on. You move on and live with it. You know, you just
But yeah,
get
no,
over it.
I get your point. You know, definitely, I would rather have games come out than not. If you know, if that's the only way, then that's the only way. I just wish that it was, I guess, less prevalent. You know, I
However,
want to play
though,
more games.
beyond those two developers or the few developers that we mentioned, I can't think of what are some other times that's happened before, where a traditional third-party developer has a game or some games that it was the first party that was an exclusive for something. Because it's not coming to me right now. I'm not saying there aren't other examples, but I just can't rack.
I
I
mean,
can't
you have
rack my
some that
head.
like broke away from being first party or third party exclusive, like the Final Fantasy guys,
And Bungie, um,
Bungie,
who
stuff like
else?
that.
I mean, and that's when you someone like you gets their wish, you know, and like
Yeah,
the exclusivity gets broken, um, and that's fine. That's not like like if it gets broken, I'm not mad about it.
yeah. No,
I will
but no,
say
I get your point. You have a good point.
it was weird when the Crash Bandicoot trilogy remastered first was being launched. You know, it was weird
Yeah,
seeing it on an Xbox and Switch because
yeah.
you know we were working at GameStop. At least I was. No, we were both were, and like having to put up the box, you know, the boxes for the Xbox version of a Crash Bandicoot. I was like, what the
Mm.
fuck? Now, granted, I already knew that there were other
And
there were
Spyro.
it's and Spyro, especially more Spyro, but like I knew that there were other Crash Bandicoot games previous years that were on Xbox. Ever since the initial trilogy was over, it became like a multi-platform thing. But it was still weird. It was still so weird to see it. So like, if I ever saw like I don't know some new remastering trilogy or collection of like Jack and Daxter, and I was like, but for all the systems, I'm like, this isn't something about this feels wrong. Like just seeing it on the Xbox feels wrong.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, and also yeah, so it's kind of how that's kind of why I think it's fine to have it. And also it's just sometimes I just feel like it does breed just good competition, you know, and we always need that. And that's the biggest reason why I'm still a big advocate for having at least two different systems available and not just one homogenous one. It's because I just feel like having two allows for, you know, you have two different identities. You know, you can identify with something better because it's like if it was only one, but you weren't feeling that one, you had no other choice. At least if you don't feel, if you're not like someone who really takes advantage of all the stuff Xbox has, you have other options to go and pursue. You know, or if you don't like what Sony's putting out, if you don't really care for like open world action adventure shit most of the time, you have other things you can go for, you know? So that's kind of why I another reason why I've always been for it. I've never had a problem with it, even if it did come to my own detriment. Cause like I would love to play a bunch of games that are on Xbox or on Switch, you know?
Mm.
But like when Astral Chain did drop, I saw that shit and I was like, that game actually looks pretty dope. I would probably I would play that. It looks like one of the better anime style type of games. And I was like, nope, Switch only. And I was like, well, okay, well, moving on with my life. You know, I mean, I hope those Switch guys have a good time. You know, and so it is what it is. So, but anyways, yeah. So that's
Well,
about it. You have any other
yep.
thoughts? Any last thoughts you want to put out
No,
there?
no. Just you know, let us know what you guys think below. I mean, let us know what you think about third party. Let us know what you think about us thinking that you know maybe it's necessary. You know, for certain games to come out, it's necessary for some. You know, for some games that make their goals for money, because like if these games don't make enough money, then we don't get seconds. So if part of us getting another game of a game we love is that maybe we have to wait a little bit to buy a PlayStation 5, like I'm gonna have to do with God of War, then that's what it is.
And I will say, bringing up the thing about being a gamer, the gamer side of me will actually I'll just be happy that, like, for instance, Bayonetta is just the only best name I can think of right now. But like, even though I was really sad and I cried a lot about not being able to play it, I was at least happy that it still exists. And
it exists and is getting a
there.
third game.
Yeah, and now a third one. So like, I'm just happy. I can at least be happy that it is not dead, and it is still around. We're getting more content, more products for it, and so that's where the gamer part of me comes in. I can just be happy, just as a gamer, that this thing hasn't just died and that it is still around. And so
Yep.
I'll try to take solace in that, and that's what you guys should do too. So that's gonna wrap up today's podcast. A little bit shorter than normal, but hey, less time for you guys to listen to those ramble. So I'm sure that's always a good thing. Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week on our next one. I don't know, David. Again, you're always waving to. Oh, stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Is that Serena's hand? Gosh damn it! God, fucking hell! We'll see you guys on the next week. If you like this one, please throw a like up on the video. Comment below. Wave back to David. Just wave. If you got this far, put a wave emoji and wave back to David so then he can see it and wave back to you. Jeez. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.